I think they do, because for Israelis, relatively life is quiet. The price that is paid by the Palestinians, either in Gaza, that are living in the biggest open air prison in the world, 2 million people located. In the West Bank, the occupation is entrenched and settlements are expanded. But for Israel, it feels safe unless there is some a short period of missiles and rocket attacks. But the question is for the voters: do they want this kind of short-term approach by Netanyahu, that there is no long-term vision of at least coexistence with the neighbors, or they want maybe someone else that has this kind of vision of looking for settlements with the Palestinians and even beyond?
Well, let's talk a little bit more then about Benny Gantz, who is the alternative candidate. What's he offering, and has he got enough of the diplomatic international know-how and experience to beat Netanyahu?
Well, one of his qualities that is quite unknown. We don't know much about what he really thinks. He was all his life he spent in the military. He ended as the chief of staff. If you look at kind of his background, he comes from a more center-left background within Israeli society. I think what he offers is kind of the old-fashioned, what used to be the Labour Party, or part of it in Israel, which on the one hand puts a lot of emphasis on security, but leaves at least a small window of opportunity to look for political settlements with the neighbors. So it's not that there is a shift the left with Gantz. I think what happened with the Likud party and the satellite parties, they moved to the very right, and what Benny Gantz and the other members of his alliance, who other ones of them also former chief of staff, is security with some of idea of political or diplomatic efforts to find solution with the Palestinians.
In many ways, what we've seen is Benny Gantz taking some of the territory that normally would have been held by Netanyahu, and then Netanyahu potentially shifting further to the right, particularly when it comes to annexing Jewish settlements in the occupied Palestinian territories. How far to the right do you think Netanyahu is prepared to go?
Well, there is always, with Netanyahu, a huge difference between the rhetoric and what he does. And 2-3 days before election, always at the height of his rhetoric. So talking about the annexation of Area C within the West Bank, which constitutes more than 60% of it, is basically kissing goodbye to any chance, if there is one, of a viable Palestinian state. If President Trump and Washington are serious of anything about the deal of the century, they should have reacted to this. But he gets mainly from the populist leaders in the world tailwind in support of it, the annexation of the Golan Heights. I think what Gantz and his members of the party, if he forms the next coalition, they will move it back to the center and say, if there is no peace, they will try to maintain the status quo. But if there is any opening for negotiation, they leave the door open.
All right, thank you very much. Really great to get your thoughts. Yossi Mekelberg there from Regent.